Hello everyone, I'm Bishi, and tonight we are playing more Great Ace Attorney Chronicles. We are starting the final case of Great Ace Attorney resolved tonight. I'm very excited to be... I am no longer excited to be here. I'm just kidding. I'm very excited to be starting the ending of this game, basically. I'm sure that this case is going to be a long one. Usually the last cases are pretty long, so I don't know how long it'll take me to finish this, but we are at last at the final case. So yeah, we'll be starting it today. The game left us on a little bit of a cliffhanger with the ending of the last episode, and I'll be hopping in and looking at my notes from last time and stuff in just a little bit. All right, we're gonna hop right in. So let's do it. I think we're gonna be starting with the trial this time. Final chapter. So dramatic. Oh, the resolve of Ruuuvo. That's why it's called Resolve. 3rd November, 9:14 a.m. The Old Bailey. Defendant's antechamber. Dramatic music. So, the time has finally come. Today, we unravel everything. I'll be counting on your support more than ever today, Miss Susato. This is a new song, right? It sounds like more epic than usual. Miss Susato? She's just enjoying the music. Ah! What was that for? Oh no! What's the matter, Mr. Naruhodo? What's the matter? He's upside down! Nothing? I was just saying I'll be relying on your support today, but... I'm so sorry, of course. I know I can be rather incompetent at times, but... I shan't let you down. Would you mind helping me to my feet, then? Oh dear, I'm really very sorry. Why? Just why? Sato-san isn't her usual self at all. That's hardly surprising, I suppose. She's just found out that her father is the partner of a world-famous detective. Not to mention... Right. I almost forgot! Okay, it's time to look at the notes. It's time to look at the notes. So yeah, the huge, like, kind of cliffhanger was last time, the very end of stream, at the end of that episode, we learned that Susato's father is technically, like the Mr. Watson of Herlock Sholmes. It was not Wilson that was his partner. It's Mikotoba, her dad. Let's see, what else did we learn? So, we got a piece of evidence last time, Gregson's trunk, because we are still trying to solve the murder of Gregson. He had a passport for France the day before he was killed. That allows him to take another person with him. I thought that was important. We also got details about the autopsy of Clint, Van Zieks' brother. The evidence showed that he most likely was stabbed in the heart during a duel, is what it looked like. He had red ink on his hand. And the vital evidence that won the case that found Asogi guilty was found in Clint's stomach. Well, we don't know what it was. And the handwriting on that autopsy report was Mikotoba's. So he was there during that pivotal autopsy. And yeah, Mikotoba has been Herlock's partner the entire time. It was never really answered who Iris's father is, but like, Mikotoba's like, it's not what you think, so it probably is not him. And then the last thing we saw, Herlock and Mikotoba went on an adventure together to solve some kind of crime. So now we're here, back at the trial, to defend Van Zieks from being found guilty of murdering Gregson. There's a lot of moving pieces. Objection! Yeah. Sustained. I get it. Do you imagine if, like, the lawyers were, like, sensitive about stuff like that? Like... Objection! Why are you yelling? Oh, I guess. Yeah, I guess what I said was terrible. I'm just a terrible person, I guess. Yeah, whatever. Oh, welcome in, Peace Me. I hope you're doing good. Oh, we're just catching up on what happened in this game last time. A lot. Yeah, so Sato's dad is this game's Watson. And they think he might be Iris's dad. Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think he is. Oh, I wish we had access to these models for objection.lol. Oh, that would be really fun, is like 3D ones. I missed many details. Yeah, so I feel like what I said is all the important stuff. But yeah, suffice to say, long story short, Mikatoba is Watson. Is Watson in this game. Doing okay. Kitty's not feeling well, but I think she's slightly feeling better. Okay. Well, I hope that she feels even more better soon. And it starts to get better, yeah. I'm glad she's starting to feel better. But we want to see even better than that. Well, I wish her all the love to get better soon. Alright, Susato. Good morning, sir. Oh, there he is. Lord Van Zieks. Thank you for all your efforts yesterday. Did I hear that correctly? What? Oh, no, nothing. Just, I hope we can clear things up today. I really can't make this man out. His face says, I hate you, but his words are almost jovial today. In fact, he hasn't been very Reaper-like at all since this all began yesterday. Lord Van Zieks isn't the Reaper, Mr. Naruhodo. Good point. The Reaper. I suppose in hindsight, I shouldn't have allowed that misconception to go unchallenged. Huh? It was my tacit acceptance of that pseudonym. Oh, lots of words! lots of words I struggle with in one sense. Okay, thank you. Thank you for that challenge. My failure to stop the Reaper becoming something more than a mere legend that led to all this. But you're not to blame for that, Lord Van Zieks. It's only because serious crime in the capital dropped off so sharply when the public started calling you that. That's why you didn't say anything, isn't it? To be frank, I'm not sure that was the sole reason. What do you mean? There was a rumor at the time that the Reaper was really the ghost of my late brother. Oh. That having been slain by that evil killer, Clint's restless spirit returned as some sort of demigod, to wield a deadly blade of justice where I, by dint of the law, could not. Yes, we've heard that story too. When I lost him, I felt as though I'd lost my guiding light. I didn't know where to go or what to do. And so, in some small way, I wonder if perhaps those rumors made me feel his absence a little less keenly. Damn. We lost a baddie. We lost a baddie, folks. An ancient baddie, but a baddie nonetheless. Darn. Hey broski, welcome in. He's so fine. Literally, whenever he pops up, I gotta stare at how good looking he is. Very beautiful. We lost a baddie. We can't lose another one. We gotta protect this one with our life. Oh, welcome in Panda as well. Vampire. He's just the vampire to me in this game. If I ever forget his name permanently, like after I finish Great Ace Attorney and move on, it's like a year or two later and I can't remember his name, he's just the vampire daddy to me. That's just his name, you know? I'll remember that. I might not remember Van Zieks. Y'all can test me on this like a year from now. I will most likely not be able to recall his name. Probably not. Because there was a time where I put this game on hiatus just for like a few months, I think. And I couldn't remember his name. And that wasn't even a year. So. I don't remember his name, but I remember how fine he looks. That's for sure. Sets a reminder, yeah. A year-long timer. Just indefinitely going on your phone. Oh my god. Pepsi was invented. Well, you can't bring this conversation up every stream. No, I refuse. I will not be engaging this conversation today. Despite the fact that Pepsi was invented in the 1880s. Good to know. Okay. Back to Vampire Daddy. Okay, this is serious. This is serious. Even if I knew it was just an illusion, just some nonsense conjured up by an over-imaginative public. He was obviously extremely important to you. Lord Clint Van Zieks. Well, what's important now is uncovering the truth. That's all that matters. I know that you didn't take anyone's life. And I intend to prove that beyond a shadow of a doubt in court today. I never thought I'd say this, but I can see it in your eyes. That burning desire to cut through all the lies and deception. I can't deny it any longer. You are a lawyer of absolute integrity. Thank you. Now tell me, why do I detect the scent of expensive tea leaves in the air? Oh, baby's here. Oh, Iris, when did you get here? Oh.
I brought you one of my special blends. Hurley loves it. He says it helps him to clear his head.
Baby!
It's a baby! I thank you.
Oh, hee hee.
Oh my god. That's surely the first and last time I'll ever see a sight like this. You seem different today, Iris. Oh? She looks so serious with this face. Oh? You think so? What are you gonna do about it, Ryu? Like... It's a menacing look to me. She has a quash. I mean, he's a very handsome person. He is very beautiful to me. He is very beautiful. Sort of subdued, I suppose.
I am not.
What happened yesterday is obviously still playing on her mind a lot. She's clearly very troubled about having stolen that autopsy report from Dr. Scythe's laboratory. Oh yeah, forgot she stole it.
Alright then. Good luck to you both. I have to make a move now. Oh, you're not staying?
Also menacing when she points the gun at the screen. I thought you would want to watch today's proceedings.
Well, I'd like to cheer you on, obviously. But I've got lots to get ready.
Get ready? For what?
Oh, yes. Would you take this?
Oh, isn't that one of the little felt dolls that's usually dangling from your knapsack?
Yes, it's a lucky charm. A little Hurley that I made once.
That's really cute. A Hurley? Looks more like a Hairly to me. Oh, very funny! Very funny!
For some reason, you completely run out of options in the trial today. Then just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
There's some secret inside this doll. What? Pull his ears?
That's right. It's a way to bring good luck. I think you might need it.
Okay, the lucky charm's been entered. Little doll of Mr. Sholmes in hair form. I've been told to tug its ears if I run out of options in the trial today. I'm gonna have to remember that. It's a bomb. Well, I was thinking it'd be like a smoke grenade or something, and then they just run out of the run out of the room. That's a little extreme. But when was milk invented? a long time ago. A very long time ago. It's always that thing of like, who thought of this? Who thought that drinking that would be a good idea? There's always got to be someone. There's always that one weirdo that tries anything. Just, I want to drink that. Like, and then now, like, half of humanity can't even digest it anyway. That's true. We had milk. That's true. But we wouldn't drink that for a very long time. You know? Adult people? Babies. In defense of milk, they had to pair cereal with something. I like how that insinuates that cereal was created before we started using milk. Like, man, I made this delicious, like, sugary treat in the form of flakes in a bowl, but it's just so dry, and water just does not pair well. We need something else, something thicker with some kind of density to it. We need something else. What did they put in cereal before milk? It's just water. The original cereal just rocks in a bowl. That's also implying that we knew how to make bowls, but we were trying to eat rocks. Hey, Survey, welcome in. Howdy. We are playing Ace Attorney, but now we're discussing the original origins of milk, cereal. Yeah. Some rocks taste good, but like a salt rock. I don't make it a habit to eat rocks personally, unless there are those chocolate rocks that are meant to look realistic, but they're actually just chocolate. Invented. Yeah, just invented. Who thought drinking a liquid from an animal was a good idea, and why? Who did this? Who did this to humanity? I mean, I think I remember who, or not who, but like originally where we started drinking milk, but I'm not sure if I'm remembering correctly. Ah, rock candy. Rock candy, that's true. Oh, I didn't recognize this quote for a second. All right, I guess we're just talking right now. Okay.
Yo, do you know this guy? Yeah, I wasn't talking to you. And yeah, there is a problem. Did you trespass and leave this guy on my property? Yeah, well, it's my property. This guy's been going nuts. He freaked out Mikatoba. I've been in hysterics. I don't know what the hell is going on. I had to take the day off work to bring him back. If I see you again on my property, I'm beating your ass.
Just the most adorable child saying this. Oh. All right, here's the info. We got the info, okay. Although warm-cooked cereals like oatmeal, corn grits, and wheat farina have the longest history as traditional breakfast foods, branded and ready-to-eat cold cereals appeared around the late 19th century. Well, we already had milk by then. We had milk in, what did someone else say? Like 30,000 BC? That sounds about right. Have y'all ever had the urge to eat the colorful rocks? The ones that in the fish aquariums? I understand it, but no. I've wanted to hold them though. Oh yeah, I love grits. I've had savory grits and sweet. I like both, but usually grits I have savory. A German immigrant began the cereals revolution in 1854 with a hand oats grinder in the back room of a small store. His German Mills American Oatmeal Company was the nation's first commercial oatmeal manufacturer. You discover where milk and cereal come from, finally. A long ways apart. See, the cereal came after the milk, you guys. Yes, they look like Fruity Pebbles. Then just eat Fruity Pebbles! Just eat Fruity Pebbles! Don't eat rocks! It won't go well for you. You could just have a handful of dry Fruity Pebbles and just eat that if you really want to have that authentic experience. Okay.
Do you think what we'll need is luck? I just sneaked a peek inside the courtroom. And it seemed very different to normal.
Yes, it would seem. That a certain someone has decided to pull out all the stops. What does that mean?
What about Mr. Sholmes, Iris? I don't know. He was out all night and he hadn't come home by the time I left this morning.
Oh, I see. Was Professor Mikotoba out all night too, do you think, Miss Usato?
Yes, it would seem so. I telegrammed the hotel this morning. And apparently they didn't come back to their rooms last night at all.
They?
Father and Judge Jikoku, I mean.
Judge Jikoku too?
That's right. Nobody appears to have seen either of them since yesterday.
Counsel for the defense and the defendant. Court is about to be in session. Please make your way inside the courtroom at once!
Good luck then, Runo. Good luck, Susie.
Yes, thanks, Iris.
And you, Mr. Reaper. I hope it goes well.
Once again, I thank you for the delicious tea. It was very soothing.
Oh, I'm so glad. We must go inside now, Lord Van Zieks.
Lord Van Zieks has always been the formidable prosecutor I've had to lock horns with in court. But not today. Today I battle with another in pursuit of the truth. My best friend, Kazuma Asogi, who I trust more than anyone else in the world. Now I understand what it was that drew me here to Britain all those months ago. Now I know exactly what destiny had in store for me. It's all been leading up to this one day, to this one trial, to this one final reckoning. To be continued now. 20 minutes of gameplay. Alright. I like how we're just having a conversation about cereal in the chat while I'm playing this. Alright. 3rd November, 9:30 a.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. It feels even more oppressive here than it did yesterday. There are cold stares piercing me like knives from all sides today.
Ah! Mr. Naruhodo, look!
Oh! Look, Lord Stronghart! Oh! Uh-oh. Oh, no. Kazuma must have known beforehand. The ramifications of this trial now extend far beyond the murder of one Scotland Yard inspector. Oh, boy. I'm scared. I'm scared. I went to Google what did we put in cereal before milk and got the most random prediction I've ever seen. Oh no, I'm not Googling it. I don't want to know. I like Rice Krispies without milk better than with— oh yeah, like the cereal one. Those are— yeah, I haven't had those in a long time. My first time having sweet grits was at a restaurant and I was so confused and weirded out by it. Yeah, if you're not prepared for it, it's weird. I mean, so, okay, now I have to answer a conundrum that I have. Let me see if this is the same thing. Okay, yeah. So, I don't know if I have had grits that are sweet, actually. Maybe once. But, usually it's just savory. What I have that's similar to grits, but I always have it sweet, is cream of wheat. But they're different. Grits are made from corn. I didn't even know this. Basically, I always thought that grits was like a savory version of cream of wheat. I don't know. I knew they were different somehow, but not how. Apparently the first cereal was so hard that it would break your teeth, and they had to be soaked overnight to be edible. Wow. So we did eat rocks! We did! So welcome in Weird Normal. I'm looking forward to this trial all week. Going to be so much fun. Yeah, I'm really excited to finally be in the last case. Evil man strikes again. I like sweet and savory. It's just so tasty. Yeah, I love grits. I love cream of wheat. Yes. All very good. All right, Stronghart. I wonder if he likes cream of wheat. In fact, events have come to light that threaten to rock the very foundations of our country's legal system. The escape of a condemned criminal on the night of his execution, the subsequent unlawful shooting of the man, and the revelation that prison staff must have been complicit in the jailbreak. Britain is currently hosting influential members of the judiciary from countries all around the world. It is imperative that we uncover the truth in these proceedings to avoid international embarrassment. By royal decree, this will continue to be a closed trial, and one over which I, male Stronghart, exercise total and unequivocal authority. The 6 jurors' flames just... As was the case in yesterday's proceedings, those here present in the public gallery are distinguished members of our judiciary, assembled to bear witness to a fair judicial process. In other words, a collection of your acolytes, Lord Stronghart. On a personal note, I find this most distressing, Lord Van Zieks. You were a prosecutor of exceptional talent. Much like your brother, Clint, in fact. In the name of Her Majesty the Queen, I hereby declare this court to be in session. For the trial of Beric Van Zieks, who officially stands accused of murder. So dramatic. Counsels for the prosecution and defense, are you in full readiness to proceed? The defense is ready, my lord. As is the prosecution. Yesterday's proceedings brought to light a shocking and disturbing fact. There was a side to the victim, Inspector Tobias Gregson, that was unknown to his superiors at Scotland Yard. Yes, he was carrying out operations in secret, which Scotland Yard knew nothing about. And in those clandestine operations, he had an accomplice. Mr. Daily Vigil would be given the inspector's identification and present himself around the capital in order to establish credible alibis for Gregson. In that way, Gregson appeared to be carrying out his regular Scotland Yard work, when in fact he wasn't. At the end of yesterday's session, Mr. Vigil, who had been suffering from amnesia, regained his memory. It would appear he buried his memories of the time deep inside himself as a means of self-preservation. Because whilst he was engaged as chief warder at Barclay Prison, he abetted the convict's escape. Mr. Vigil is currently recuperating at St. Sinners. He's recovered enough to give a signed statement about his movements on the day prior to the incident. He's formally admitted to posing as Gregson whilst investigating the Red-Headed League. Which brings us to the crucial issue of the victim's time of death. The defense yesterday proposed a suggestion that the victim may have been killed one day earlier. This was based largely on the discovery that the victim's pocket watch had not been wound. The prosecution has something to report on that subject, my lord. Really? Go ahead, Prosecutor Asogi. I met once again with the coroner yesterday to discuss the issue. She confirmed the defense's suggestion could not be ruled out. Ooh. It's entirely possible that Inspector Gregson was killed on 31st October, the day before his body was discovered. Okay. I have here an updated autopsy report that includes the amended details. It makes an appearance, the actual main character of this series. An updated autopsy report. But the official opinion of the investigation team was made clear yesterday that the time of death was 5 p.m. on 1st November. There are indications of an attempt to disguise the real time of death, however. It seems that the natural decaying process of the victim's body may have been slowed by keeping it chilled. So he knows what we know. That is out of the question. Why? Why do you say that? There are no refrigeration devices in that part of London large enough to accommodate a human corpse. How do you know? You hiding a lot of corpses around town? My lord, this is more than just conjecture. There's evidence to support the idea. We must investigate it thoroughly. Very well. The court will accept the new report as evidence. However, if this updated report is deemed to be accurate, it would give renewed significance to the movements of the victim on the day before the Fresno Street incident. It would, yes. Especially since on that day, Inspector Gregson was using Mr. Vigil to cover up his real movements. It's conceivable that he was killed in the course of his secret activities. Do I sense that the prosecution has some information regarding those activities? Scotland Yard put an enormous effort into investigating that precise matter yesterday. I think we should begin by presenting the results of that investigation work. So the prosecution calls its first witness now. Oh! Another baby. Alright. Catch up with you. I've never had grits before. I think they're pretty good. I would give them a try. I don't eat them often, though. I think I've only really had them at restaurants. I don't really make it myself. I ate grits once as a kid, but everyone was saying it was something called sand for some reason. That's weird. I have heard of that, Arkham, yeah. Horrible stuff, apparently. Horrible. Yeah, you would, like, need a soup to actually eat it. Just a brick of granola. Oh, God. Other baby. Yes. Okay. State your name and occupation for the court.
Inspector Gina Lestrade reporting. Representative Scotland Yard.
A self-conferred rank, but never mind. Gina? Again?
What's your problem, Odo? What's with that Gina again? Look, eh?
Oh. I feel like she's been on the stand almost to every case. Almost to every case. See you around, Sir May. Thanks for hanging out with us. See you later.
The boss meant the world to me. He done more for me than anyone else ever did.
Oh? Inspector Gregson, you mean?
He got me out the back slums of the East End and took me under his wing. Taught me that life can have a purpose. So that's why I'm the best person to be standing here speaking for him. Oh, Gina.
Right. All out of the goodness of Gregson's heart. Not at all that he had his arm twisted by Mr. Sholmes. No. What's relevant to these proceedings is that the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations yesterday has revealed that the victim was carrying out some assignment the police knew nothing about. Very troubling. Face. Lord Stronghart knew. How can you tell from his face? His face, the entire playthrough, has never changed from... Just... There's no emotion there. There's nothing there. How does Ryu know? That's why Ryu has to point it out. But how does he know the tone of his voice? So, Inspector Lestrade, let's hear exactly what it says in that report.
Coming right up, sir.
He just knows. Yeah, let's bring Toby out. I think Toby knows what's going on here.
All your detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told. But a little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings on it. According to that, the boss was looking into some smuggled goods dealings that day. Looks like it was a big job and all, but the coppers weren't. How do you do weren't in this accent? Weren't onto it yet.
I have to change it.
What matters most is there's witnesses what saw the Reaper at the place too.
I don't think I do a terrible job with that accent, but there's some words that I'm like, I do not know how this would sound if a person said it like this, you know? Smuggled goods. I almost feel like, like a commercial where they're speaking in another language, but then when they say the brand name, McDonald's, you know?
I don't know, do I? I'm just telling you what was written in the book.
Tobacco, tea, spices, medicines. Goods of all sorts flow into London by illegal channels from across the globe. It's well known that they're disposed of at regular black markets that take place in the capital. The police are rarely able to locate them in time. So Inspector Gregson was investigating one of those black markets. It's been suggested that high-ranking government officials may be involved in black market activity. Are you one of them? No doubt Gregson was trying to avoid details of his investigations being leaked to the involved parties. That would explain why he was operating on his own authority without the Yard's knowledge. And do we know where the dealings were taking place this time? In a particular room of a certain exclusive London gentleman's club. And on the day in question, the accused is known to have been there. That's the conclusion of Scotland Yard's investigation into the matter. Okay. There's witnesses that saw the Reaper at the place too. When she says that, does she mean Van Zieks? Because that's who everyone thinks he is. So I guess so? Alright. Whenever I put a voice for Gina, I just eat up all the R's and T's. Yeah. I'm trying my best. Okay, so... Day of murder. Gregson was secretly investigating black market smuggling, which may involve... Let's see. Government official. Okay. And then people saw the Reaper there too. I think is what she's insinuating. Okay. And the dealings happened at a gentleman in London. Okay. Sorry, that was me. Investigation into the matter. Okay. That can't be. We haven't heard anything about any of this. Members of the club have testified to it. There's no question. The accused, Beric Van Zieks, was present. Okay, yeah. That would be very significant testimony, then.
Oh my. But... Lord Van Zieks has made no mention of this at all.
In short, Lord Van Zieks had ample opportunity to murder the victim. Just because they were both at the same place? Very well then. Counsel for the defense, begin your cross-examination. Detectives are supposed to follow orders and investigate what they're told.
Hold it!
So, you follow orders, do you, Gina?
Nah, not me. I'm above all that, see?
Oh.
The boss always had special orders for me. Grab us some fish and chips, or go and give Toby his grub, that kind of thing.
So, errands more than orders, then. This detective is still an apprentice, after all.
Yeah, well, this apprentice ain't one to sit around and wait to be told what to do, even by the boss. That's why I've been doing my own investigations into what happened. I didn't find much at first.
A little search of the boss's office turned up a notebook that had a load of secret meetings.
Hold it!
So you went through Inspector Gregson's things?
Yup, as part of the independent Lestrade investigation.
I'm sure your superiors will be delighted that you're taking the initiative.
So I snuck into his office when no one was about. Because if anyone at the yard had seen me going in there, they'd have tuffed me straight out on the street.
This is sounding less and less like an investigation and more like something else. The prosecution understands that it was this very detective who discovered the notebook.
You got that right. Nothing gets past Inspector Lestrade and her trusty assistant, Chief Inspector Toby. We found it hidden in one of his desk drawers that had a false bottom.
Oh, that's impressive.
So then I went to hide myself where no one could find me so I could have a butcher's at what was written in it. Because if anyone at the yard had found me out, they'd have touched me straight out on the street.
Huh.
I've given it in now though, ain't I? And if it weren't for me, it wouldn't ever have been found.
According to that, the book was looking into some smuggled goods dealings.
Hold it!
Do you have any idea where those dealings were taking place?
Yep. It was all there in the boss's notes. Let's see if I can remember.
As I already said, the illegal dealings were due to take place at a gentleman's club. Yes, I remember. But I was hoping to find out the name of the club. That won't be necessary. What? It's conceivable that the club might be used again by the smugglers in the future. Therefore, the prosecution has been asked not to reveal the name in these proceedings.
I don't know what all the fuss is about. It's right here. All I've got to do is read it out. And I could, too. I've got this reading game buttoned up now. Can't I show you what I can do? Go on, what's the harm?
The judge hasn't signaled his objection yet. I could try to find out. What should I do? Oh. I mean, I think it's gonna be important. This is a closed court. Proceedings are confidential. There shouldn't be any possibility of the information being leaked. As I explained, there is some possibility of politicians being involved in this affair. The prosecution is rightfully exercising caution, I imagine. No, my lord. Prosecution has no objection. Oh. Cosima? There's no question that Inspector Gregson was looking into these black market dealings. However, it's not yet been established that he was on that particular trail on the day in question. If the defense requires to know the club's name, the prosecution has no intention of being obstructive.
Right then, I get to show off me reading skills. Apparently, the smuggled goods deal was gonna happen at a gentleman's club called the Grouse.
I think I've heard that before. But I don't think it's been any time recently. Let's just press. The Grouse. What sort of a club is that?
I ain't got the foggiest.
Clubs ain't exactly my thing, but I am kinda curious. They're not places where a foreign student like you would be readily admitted. Have you looked in the mirror recently?
I tell you what, me and Chief Inspector Toby could go in undercover.
Could you, though?
I could pick out a few good marks and see what else I could find out while I was in there.
I really don't think you should go picking out anything. Anyway, that's where these black market dealings were going to take place, is it?
Yeah, it's gotta be. That's what the lower ranking detectives at the yard reckon.
Says the even lower ranking detective. Okay, I don't know if that really helped us. Looks like it was a big job, but the coppers weren't onto it yet.
Hold it!
So, I have the name of this place now, the Grouse. So how had Inspector Gregson come to find out about it in that case?
That's the question, ain't it? But I'm just an apprentice, so...
Why didn't he inform Scotland Yard of his findings?
Yeah, that's what I was asking myself. As, you know, I'm just an apprentice.
When it suits you, yes.
Anyway, the point is, something went on at that club, no question.
You can't say that for certain, though, surely. What matters most, there's witnesses that saw the Reaper there.
Hold it!
Lord Van Zieks was at the club? Should have been at the club! He was. Detectives who visited the club yesterday to make inquiries have confirmed it. Several members report having seen the accused being admitted to the room in question as a guest. It looks like there's no disputing that he was there then. In the club, we all fam. Apparently.
Well, we know that Lord Van Zieks was investigating Inspector Gregson, don't we? Perhaps he'd already discovered the inspector's secret notebook.
Which led him to the club, you mean? Maybe. Presumably, then, there are also eyewitnesses who can testify that Gregson was there? No? None have been identified at this time, no. Okay! And yet you're saying, like, oh, this is more proof that he killed Gregson because he was also at that place. Except no one saw him there. Yeah, sure, okay. So the all-important victim wasn't seen at this mysterious club.
Oi! Why ain't you asking Inspector Lestrade here, eh?
Okay. So, witnesses say they saw Zieks at the Grouse, but no witnesses for Gregson being there. But they know that he was supposed to be there based on the journal. So that's all I've got to work with. Gina's not holding back with that ice-cold stare of hers, is she?
I really don't know what to make of all this.
Lord Van Zieks told us that he was investigating Inspector Gregson, but he never once mentioned that he met the inspector the day before the incident.
You don't think Lord Van Zieks could have been lying to us, do you?
That's not the only way to explain this. If everything Lord Van Zieks has told us is true, then there must be a mistake in this testimony somewhere. Oh.
You mean there are details we've yet to uncover?
Exactly. A clue, perhaps, that even Gina hasn't noticed. That's what we should be looking for. Okay. So, you know, as usual, we're looking for the contradiction here. I don't think it's going to be anything with that. Let's look at our evidence. Let's see. What is this again? It looks like this is some sort of steamship ticket. The SS Grouse? The SS Grouse First Class Cabin 00. Is this where I remembered it from? There's no way I remembered that. Yokohama departure 11th September, London arrival 1st November. That's the boat that Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jikoku came on from Japan, isn't it? Yes, I think it called at Dunkirk on the north coast of France for a night before finally arriving in Dover. I think it's been almost a year since we arrived in Dover on the SS Protea. It seems a shame not to keep your ticket as a memento of your trip, don't you think? I agree. I have mine safely in my diary. I keep mine in my wallet, so I have it with me at all times. Well, how strange. Where could it have gone? Are you like this on purpose? Did I imagine it, or was that comment accompanied by a little sigh? Anyway, so they're not commenting on the fact that it looks like a grouse thing. Okay. I could present that. That's a direct connection. Autopsy report. Also have his ID. I just want to look at everything. Okay. That's the genuine article. Blah, blah, blah. That's his ID. It looks like the diary to me, too. They're just both blue, I guess. Okay. So we have the ticket. Watch. Sogi papers. We have the trunk, which had, that ticket. I'm just gonna react with that steamship ticket. And I knew there was something on the back of it, I just could not remember what it was, so I looked at it. Okay, let's look at this again. Gets a passport to travel overseas. We've already seen this, so I'm not reading it out. Yeah, the date of departure was the day before the murder. 1 day before the incident, yeah. Okay, so this is another thing that I could show. We have evidence that he was not even in London. He was probably in France. So I have two options there. Oh yeah, here it is. But I think I'll show the grouse thing first. And then we can look at this. I haven't looked at it yet. Now, I don't think I should pull on the ears quite yet. But I can. Maybe he'll just look at it. What a charming little rabbity version of Mr. Sholmes. Do you suppose this is how Iris sees him? Are you alright, Mr. Naruhodo? Your eyes are veritably boring into the poor doll's ears. Oh, sorry. I was just wondering, what do you suppose would happen if I were to tug its ears with all my might right now? I'm sure that we'll find out when the time is right. To become a proper gentleman, you must learn stoic patience. But I want to know! Okay. Yeah, we can't do it till we have to. Alright. We got two options. Let's see. Yeah, we got the notebook. A gentleman's club. So let's save. And then I'm gonna try that ticket.
Objection.
That was it. Cool. I was about to pull, oh wait, let me catch up with chat properly. I have a guide pulled up just in case. I appreciate that. We'll make something up and put you farther on the wrong path. Oh my god. It's terrible. I was about to pull up a guide and then we found the answer almost immediately. Yeah, I remembered that there was something on the back of that ticket. So I'm really glad I double checked that. That easily could be something that I would have forgotten about, you know? Let me know if you want a clue, because I got nothing. I never played this. I'll definitely let you know. Yeah, I'd really appreciate a clue from someone that's never played this and doesn't know what's going on. That would help so much. Okay. Yeah, that wasn't too bad. I've read about these clubs that exist here in Britain. As I understand it, they're places where well-to-do gentlemen socialize with friends and colleagues. Don't imagine for a second that a foreign student like you would be admitted. Hey God, seriously, is your mirror cracked or something? Do we know for sure that the contraband dealings were definitely happening at a club called the Grouse? The police are currently looking for evidence, but haven't found anything definitive yet. And I'm sorry to say, but they probably won't. What do you mean by that? I mean that the place Inspector Gregson was secretly going to visit on 31st October may not have been a gentleman's club at all. You're showing a very irreverent attitude towards our country's police force there, Counsel. If it wasn't a gentleman's club, then what was it? A steamship. You think it's a ship? I have the evidence to prove it. Here. Let me see that. This dark-suited young man is not in the least bit untrustworthy. The other side, my lord. Be more specific next time. Ah, this would appear to be a ticket for passage upon a steamship, yes. The SS Grouse.
Objection!
So there's a steamship named the Grouse that happens to share a name with the club. But I'm afraid to say, there's a flaw in your logic there. How? Look at the ticket. Notice the date of arrival in port. The ship arrived at the port of Dover on 1st November. The day on which the sound like a gunshot was heard on Fresno Street. In other words, on the day in question here, 31st October, when the victim was on his clandestine mission, that ship hadn't yet docked on British shores. Yeah, that's the whole point, buddy. He was in France. That would certainly make an undercover investigation somewhat challenging.
Objection!
The fact the steamship hadn't yet reached Britain substantiates the defense's assertion that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on the day in question. Then show your evidence for that assertion. Very well. In that case, counsel for the defense, present your evidence to the court now. Evidence that substantiates your claim that the victim was investigating the SS Grouse on 31st October. Okay. I feel like maybe I'm jumping ahead in my thinking, so let me slow down here. So that he was investigating the grouse on 31st October. I mean, would it still be the passport? I think maybe it would just be the passport, but I don't think it'd be anything else, right? No, that should be it. Okay, let's try it.
Take that!
Yeah. What's this? A passport for travel issued to the victim. Dated 31st October. What are you suggesting? I'm suggesting that just one day before the inspector's body was discovered, there's a distinct possibility he wasn't even in the country. Played this last May, got it for my birthday, which is so long ago that I don't remember the exact answers. I only remember how the story itself goes. I totally understand. Like I keep saying, a year from now, I'm not gonna remember anything. I'm gonna remember maybe the ending, some like large story beats. That's it. That's it. But yeah, no worries. Hopefully we'll do okay today. I've been okay so far. I am really locked in. I am trying to pay so much attention to what's going on. We'll see. Order. Order! This document is for passage to France. It does appear to have been officially authorized. The day before the SS Grouse arrived at Dover, it docked on the northern coast of France for a night. According to my father, who was on board, the port of Dunkirk. So this would actually mean that Van Zieks has an alibi. Well, no, so someone still spotted him on the ship? So he would have been on the ship with Gregson? Okay, we're getting to that, I guess. We're getting to that. So Mikotoba was on the boat. Dunkirk, France. What could possibly have taken the victim there? I'm impressed, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. I certainly didn't expect you to get your hands on that passport. What? You mean you knew about this? The prosecution's strategy for this trial has been laid down by the Crown Prosecution Office. On the day before the incident, the victim was investigating contraband dealings at a London club. That's the outcome of Scotland Yard's investigations, and the line the prosecution has been asked to follow. But personally, I don't agree. I think the prosecutor's office is trying to hide something. Oh, what? And now that you've expertly disproven their assertion, I intend to reveal what I believe that something to be. What are you playing at, Prosecutor Asogi? The courtroom is a forum for the truth, my lord. Which is why it's my duty to present all the facts, without exception. Let me guess. This was your intention from the outset, wasn't it? The reason Inspector Gregson secretly made his way to the steamship docked in France on the day in question was to carry out a mission for the Reaper. The Reaper? Order! Order! What on earth are you saying, counsel? The prosecution made an assertion in court yesterday. Inspector Gregson was investigating the identity of the Reaper. When he discovered the location of the man's secret hideout, he was killed. As I'm sure everyone can imagine, by the Reaper's hand. But in reality, the truth is the opposite of that. What? Inspector Gregson wasn't investigating the Reaper at all. He was, in fact, acting for the Reaper. So, you're saying the mission he was undertaking was, obviously, an assassination. Whoa. Eric Van Zieks never carried out any of the actual killings. Whenever the Reaper's victims lost their lives, he always had a cast-iron alibi. Which tells us that he must have had an accomplice. So he's still trying to prove that Van Zieks is the Reaper, so. Okay, let's see. But let's take notes on what we've just learned, right? So SS Grouse is actually a ship. Gregson was in France at Port Dunkirk the day before the murder. Now, Kazuma says Gregson was doing an assassination for the Reaper, who he thinks is Van Zieks. I think that's all the big stuff, right? I mean, I believe last time we learned that Gregson most likely was like a part of the Reaper's organization, because it's like a whole group of people, probably. Let me see. Oh yeah, we got some really important information last time that I forgot about. His secret notebook had details of all the Reaper cases and also mentioned the name Asashin. Not the end of the list, but that name was found all throughout the book, and that's that lady. And then there was some kind of name that was at the bottom of the list, and we don't know it yet. That's what that was. Where's Gregson? Here. I wrote down something about Gregson's involvement with the Reaper. Well, I basically remember. Okay. Must have had an accomplice. And you claim that was Inspector Gregson.
What the hell do you think you're saying, eh? My boss would never have done nothing like that.
And yet, when you consider all the facts, It all makes perfect sense.
No! It can't be!
We also arrived at the same conclusion, didn't we? That Inspector Gregson was operating as the Reaper. Even so, there's no way that the person giving him his orders was Lord Van Zieks. The true Reaper is somebody else. Eric Van Zieks is not the Reaper. Case closed. A predictable response from someone who's advocating for the man. And even if it's true that Gregson was operating as an agent of the Reaper, the suggestion that he went aboard the SS Grouse on an assassination mission doesn't follow at all. Oh? You have some solid reason for doubting the assertion, do you, Counsel? Absolutely. It's very simple. On the day in question, nobody was killed aboard that steamship. Professor Mikotoba and Judge Jikoku were on that very ship. If someone had been assassinated, I'm sure we would have heard about it. That's our evidence. I would have heard about it. It's a pretty big deal. I would have heard some. Okay, so we also know... Okay, so apparently... Gregson, Mikotoba, and Judge were on the same steamship. And then maybe Van Zieks as well, because we had witnesses that saw him. But then how did they not know that it was a boat, you know? What's so funny? You're right, of course. No suspicious deaths were reported on board the ship. But I think, perhaps you've missed the point. That's precisely why Inspector Gregson himself lost his life. Ah, what? Gregson did board the SS Grouse that night with the intention of dispatching his mark. But his mission ended in failure. Failure? It seems that the defense hasn't yet grasped a very important detail here. What are you talking about? What detail? Inspector Gina Lestrade.
Hey, what?
The victim's notebook that you read an excerpt from earlier. That doesn't contain details of secret investigations at all. It describes 10 years of assassination plots to be carried out by the Reaper of the Bailey.
You're lying! Even if all them bludgers what got taken out had it coming. The boss weren't the Reaper.
Poor Gina. There's no question that Tobias Gregson was heavily involved in the Reaper's activities. You may just be an apprentice, but if you spent any time at Scotland Yard, you must have heard rumors.
I ain't heard nothing, and I don't believe a word of it.
Then testify again, as a representative of Scotland Yard. Consider it your chance to defend your boss.
I don't...
I concur. The witness will give a new formal testimony. Miss Lestrade, you will tell the court everything you know about Inspector Gregson's secret notebook. Ooh. They have witnesses that Van Zieks was at the Gentleman's Club, right? But then they were saying it was called the Grouse, but then there's a ship called the Grouse, so... I don't know if Van Zieks was really there. Which then, if they're saying that Van Zieks killed Gregson, it's like, you gotta have a witness that he was on that boat. We'll see. That's what I'm confused about at this point. Alright.
Yeah, this notebook does have a load of stuff about what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. Names of victims, dates and places and stuff. And the last entry in there was 31st October. It said Grouse for the place on that date, and then the name of the mark.
Who was the mark?
There was a note about him being a criminal what got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago or something. But honest, the boss didn't do none of it. He was just investigating the Reaper, that's all.
Keep personal opinion out of your testimony, witness. We require only established fact here. Or established lies. This must be so hard for her. You can't deny it now, surely, Ryunosuke Naruhodo. What can't I deny? The notebook contained the name of the final mark and the location where the assassination would take place. That's information that the victim could only have known if he was working with the Reaper. So, who was to be this final mark? Go ahead, Inspector Lestrade. Read the name for the court. The name that's written alongside the entry that mentions the grouse on 31st October.
Eh? Oh, how do you read this then?
Reading's still not her strong suit.
That ain't the problem, alright, Odo? It's a funny name. It ain't English. It's hard to read.
So it's someone from overseas.
Let me have a bash at it. Say Ishiro, is it?
Seishiro.
Yeah, Seishiro.
The judge? Oh, I forgot his first name was Seishiro.
Jigoku, maybe?
What? It can't be. Seishiro Jigoku?
But that's Judge Jigoku.
Seishiro Jigoku. Certainly not an English name. You're right.
Objection!
That can't be right. I know Judge Jigoku, and I saw him the day before yesterday here in London. So I know for a fact that the man hasn't been assassinated. As I said, the Reaper failed. Oh, come on, Rio. Gregson missed his chance to kill his mark and return to British shores. But the Reaper wouldn't tolerate the mistake, so he killed the inspector. Personally. The Reaper, of course, being the accused, Gina and Van Zieks. I don't think so, but... Okay, so, now we know the final name that I was talking about earlier. I didn't know it yet. Okay. Final name at the end of Gregson's list. And latest mark was Judge Jigoku. So Cosima says he failed his assassination mission to kill him. So the Reaper killed him for failing. Okay. I guess. It's an undeniably logical argument. Cosima, you planned for the trial to go this way all along, didn't you?
Hold it!
Oh, hello. Ah! Pray, forgive the discourtesy of filling my hallowed chalice whilst I stand accused of murder. The boot. Lord Van Zieks! Stop it. The accused has no right to speak uninvited in court. He will return to the dock. That's what we all wanted to see. It's what we're here for. Man's filling hallowed chalices in court. Can't help but love him. Need him? Oh my god. Why? One last leg for the road, right? I say nothing of whether or not I'm the Reaper. That's the task of this court to decide. But there is one thing I can say unequivocally. That girl is no detective.
Eh? What? No, that's right. I ain't. I'm an inspector.
Repeating rumors heard around the yard. Reading entries from a notebook of unconfirmed origin. That's not testimony. It's practically a script. No doubt the rest of this trial will go exactly as you've clearly planned. Your hatred of me is understandable. In your mind, I'm sure I am the Reaper, who sent your father to the gallows all those years ago. But you're in danger of becoming a far more sinister Reaper yourself. By attempting to have me condemned with this feeble excuse for testimony. What did you say?
Mr. Naruhodo, this is our chance.
My lord, the defense requests that the defendant be allowed to speak. He may be privy to important information relating to the testimony just given by the witness. Menacing. Very well. I'll make an exception and grant the request. The defendant may remain in the witness stand for the cross-examination. He already has more wine and another glass. Then allow me to toast the court's impartiality. Don't raise your glass in my direction, sir. Counsel for the defense, begin the cross-examination immediately. At once, my lord. Welcome in, Lexicon. Happy Thursday. Fridays are happier, but happy Thursday. Okay. This notebook does have a lot of stuff about the Reaper, what the Reaper got up to these past 10 years. So what's different here? I've already seen this or no? Oh yeah, she already said this. Yeah, so now we're cross-examining it. Okay.
Hold it!
Let's do it. In other words, it shows that Gregson was basically acting as the Reaper.
Not you and all. That ain't the only explanation, is it? He could have been investigating the Reaper in secret, and that notebook said what he found out.
If I may. When originally people began referring to me as the Reaper, I didn't object. I believed the power to intimidate London's criminal classes into compliance with the law to be beneficial. But you carried out your own investigations into the true identity of the Reaper, didn't you? Yes, and those investigations proved conclusively that Gregson was one arm of the Reaper. Right, we got that information from him.
One arm? What are you talking about?
The Reaper's victims were all extremely shrewd criminals at the top of their game. There's simply no way one person could have taken them on alone. The Reaper is an organization, right? With you at its head? Very cheeky. I had spies at the yard, keeping me abreast of Gregson's movements, letting me know when he was elsewhere. So I'd been able to check the most recent entry in his book. I knew the location. You knew it said grouse? Believing it to be a reference to the Gentleman's Club, I went there on the day in question to investigate, alone. Ah, okay, so there's a Gentleman's Club called the Grouse, and then there's the steamship called the SS Grouse. Okay. So people saw him at the club because he was at the club looking for Gregson, but secretly Gregson actually was at the ship that was called Grouse.
So that explains why several members of the club claim to have seen you there.
But of course, the inspector was not there. Because at the time, he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. Very well then, back to your testimony about the contents of this notebook.
Fine. Something wrong, Mr. Naruhodo? You seemed a little shocked by something a moment ago.
Oh, no, it's alright. I'm overthinking this, aren't I? There's something I'm supposed to notice here. About the trunk. Is it because Kazuma shouldn't know about the trunk because Gina had it? So we should be like the only ones that know about it? But he mentioned the passport earlier too. I don't know. Right, how does he know it was inside the trunk? I got that. Or I don't know how, but I'm just like, that's the weird thing. Okay. So Kazuma knew about the passport in the trunk. We probably had to figure out how. And then I want to solidify that Van Zieks was not on the boat. But in fact, Speaks knew Gregson was going to a place called the Grouse. Mistakenly went to the club instead of the boat. Okay. There's that. And then I already knew the Reaper is an organization. I don't need to write that down. But then we are confused about how Kazuma knows that. Okay. Names of victims, dates, places. Last entry, 31st October.
Hold it!
Names of victims, dates, places, and stuff? What in particular?
Well, besides the victims' names, this other name kept cropping up.
What other name was that?
It's the one I told you yesterday. The same name written over and over.
You mean Asashin?
Yeah, that's the one. She's a friend of yours or something, isn't she?
Were you even listening yesterday? Asashin. The assassin.
What? Like, a killer, you mean?
Yeah, there's no way we could have known that from just the name. That's wild that you learned that. Gregson was the tactician, the one who came up with the plan of attack. He investigated the marks thoroughly, finding out when they would be vulnerable and who to use to get at them. The person actually executing his plans was someone else, you're saying? If that's true, then the Reaper does indeed start to sound like an organized group of vigilantes. Then perhaps what it said on the passport document, permission for the applicant and one additional person to travel. Would that additional person have been clearly the assassin, who was meant to take Seishiro Jikoku's life. Gina, can you confirm that? Against the final entry that listed Grouse and Seishiro Jikoku, what name was written?
Oh, well, that's the only entry that didn't have a name next to it as it happens.
What?
It just had like a question mark or something there, I think.
Oh boy. In other words, Gregson himself didn't know the identity of the assassin in that case. But Gregson was the one making the plans, was he not?
Oh, how infuriating.
A nameless assassin? Okay. So in the notebook, usually Sashin is listed as the assassin. But for Jikoku, there's just a question mark. It said grouse for the place on that date and then the name of the mark.
Hold it!
And you're saying that the mark listed was Seishiro Jikoku?
That's what he said. Funny name if you ask me. And I thought your name was odd.
So pleased to have lost my crown there. Mr. Jikoku is the presiding judge of Japan's Supreme Court of Judicature. I remember the man. He came to our country as a visiting student 16 years ago, studying international law and diplomacy under your tutelage, Lord Stronghart. That bearded young fellow was a very able man, I must say. You liked his beard? So Lord Stronghart was Judge Jikoku's mentor. If I'm not mistaken, he returned to Japan 10 years ago now.
10 years ago, after that fateful case.
Precisely. In the aftermath of the professor case, his repatriation was organized immediately. It's a mystery why such a man would be listed in the inspector's notebook.
I didn't think it was possible, but the mood in here has got even worse now. Maybe I'll just keep talking.
Yeah, there was a note about him being a criminal that got away from the Reaper in court 10 years ago. Now that's interesting. Mm-hmm. What do you mean a criminal? Judge Jikoku is no criminal.
But don't ask me! I don't know nothing about it.
Oh, do you remember what Father told us? That Judge Jikoku did once appear in court here in Britain. Right. It was related to the professor case, I'm sure. Yes, of course, you're right. Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand. He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Okay. So he deserves to die for that? Like, It was a pitiful situation, yes. I'd forgotten all about it. But I prosecuted that trial too, as it happens. You did? It was considered to be an adjunct to the professor proceedings, you see. But he was acquitted after being told to make repatriation for the damage caused to the stand. For reparation? And there you have it. Have what? Surely the accused hasn't forgotten his own rule? That there's no saving anyone who faces the Reaper in court, guilty or innocent alike. What? No! Are you suggesting that the reason Judge Jikoku was targeted for assassination? The man was sent back to Japan immediately after that trial. The Reaper had no time to do his work. But then, 10 years later, the mark returns to Britain once more. Perhaps now you start to see just how vindictive the Reaper is. Come on, that's absurd. To take someone's life for that? For breaking furniture? Isn't the whole premise of the Reaper absurd, killing those who have been found innocent? Clearly, the rules by which the man operates are beyond a sane person's comprehension. But, right.
I've had just about enough of this.
Gina?
All this nonsense about the boss planning to kill people. It's cobblers.
Cobbler? I love Cobbler.
Come on, Odo.
Yes?
Why ain't you saying nothing? Why ain't you yelling out objection or something?
What?
You've got to find a flaw. You do, usually. Someone's lying here, there's no question. You've got to work out who it is. Please, for the boss.
Oh. You made a little girl cry! That outburst was an insult to the court and to your own testimony. I might have known that a common pickpocket from the back slums couldn't make a detective. How dare you? Like, you're kicking her when she's down, man. When this trial is over, you will forfeit your warrant card, Miss Lestrade. Is that clear? Oh my god.
I've had it with the lot of ya. It's lies every bleeding place you look in this world, isn't it? Well, I've had enough.
Gina. So have I. After that little speech of Gina's, I've made up my mind.
To do what, Mr. Naruhodo?
There was one point in this cross-examination when something that was said just didn't sit right with me. One statement that seemed odd.
Oh, do you mean...
I'm not going to let Gina's plea for help fall on deaf ears. Okay.
Come on, Odo. Help! You've got to find a flaw somewhere.
So I guess I respond to that? With the trunk? Let's try it. Yeah, now we're mad at Stronghart now. He hurt Gina! I'm hungry, what snack should I get? And then chat says pilk. My god. Mac and cheese! If you have it. Always hated Stronghart. I've never liked him. I mean, I've always known there's something up with him. I've always known that he's gonna be an antagonist or bad somehow. I have not been spoiled. It's just, you know, he seems bad. We'll see. We shall see the day when that is true or false. Okay. I'm gonna present this.
Objection.
Did I do this right? I don't know. I don't think I did. That last statement seemed a little questionable to me. Okay. Maybe she's just asking for help. Alright. I'm sorry. I'm just like, oh, maybe this will be special. It's the last case, so I'm gonna do things a little differently. Okay. I guess let me press her on this statement.
Hold it!
I want to thank you, Gina. You helped me find my resolve. Battle drop. Hey? What do you mean? Amongst everything we've heard during this cross-examination, there's one thing that defies explanation. One inconsistency. What? An inconsistency? Oh?
Really, Odo?
I don't quite know what it means yet, but... Okay, here we go. Yes, there's an inconsistency in something that was said by... my bestest friend in the whole wide world. Did I skip over you? Where are you? Did I miss him? Oh, there he is. Yeah, I went right past. I didn't see the headband, you know? I didn't see the red headband. Barely recognized him. Okay.
Take that!
By you, Kazuma Asogi. Me. Is this some attempt at filibustering, Counsel? Prosecutor Asogi has given no testimony. What are you suggesting I said that was inconsistent? You let something slip that you shouldn't have. When I present the relevant piece of evidence, I imagine you'll realize what you've done. Very well then, Counsel. Go ahead. What evidence reveals this alleged inconsistency in something Prosecutor Asogi has said? This one.
Take that!
This is a trunk that belonged to Inspector Gregson. A metal construction, is it? It's certainly very heavy. What's this? A bloodstain. And a relatively fresh one. What? You mean that ain't grease from all the boss's fish and chips? Fresh blood on the inspector's trunk. That suggests that the victim was traveling with that luggage when he was killed. That can't be. There was no mention of any trunk in Scotland Yard's report. Yes, there's a reason for that. Immediately after the inspector's body was discovered, one of the street peddlers made off with the trunk, hoping to sell it. But I found it. Me, with me nose for trouble. Which means that nobody should have known anything about the trunk. Unless, of course, we're talking about somebody who was present when the victim was killed. Oh? So that's what that is implying. Okay. And yet, during the cross-examination of the witness just now, you said this, Cosmo. Because at the time he was making his way to the steamship docked on the northern coast of France, as shown by the passport found in the victim's metal trunk. So the question is, how did you know about the trunk? We know the man went on a trip to France. Where else would he have put his passport? No! Kazuma! You couldn't think of something smarter than that? But you knew it was a metal trunk. Answer me honestly, Kazuma. On 31st October, where exactly were you? Ooh. At the port of Dunkirk, on board the SS Grouse. Is that the answer you're looking for, Ryunosuke? Kazuma, what did you... I hadn't considered the possibility before, but if Kazuma was there on the ship, then it can only have been for one purpose. Oh no, Mr. Naruhodo, surely you don't think... Come on, Ryunosuke. You know the rules. The only thing that really talks in the courtroom is hard evidence. As I understand it, Inspector Gregson always took that case with him when he traveled. So as it stands, You've proven nothing. Kazuma, are you challenging me to prove it beyond all reasonable doubt? That you were there that day, in the same place as the inspector? He was there? With Gregson? There's a clue you've overlooked. A secret that trunk can tell us. I can't be sure at this point. I'll need to verify it. But I have a nasty feeling that I'm going to be right. The accusation being made is deeply disturbing, but nevertheless, we must test it. I don't like where this is going, chat. I don't like where this is going. Okay, so I want to look at the trunk again. I pretty much remember the stuff about it. Like, we have the slice, we have the blood, and then the passport inside. But it looks like we have new dialogue, so let's do that. Have you seen this huge gash across the side of the trunk here? It's gone right through the leather and into the metal behind. For a metal chest like this to have been so badly damaged, whatever made the gash must have struck the side of the trunk with considerable force. I wonder how it happened. Okay, so that's the same. But... oh, everything's probably new because it's like a new episode in the game. Maybe that's why. So even if you've looked at something before, maybe it's acting like it's new. Look at this dark stain. Do you think... I'm afraid so. I think it's blood. I knew you were going to say that. So that presumably means... this was present at the scene when Inspector Gregson was killed. It's the most logical conclusion. I think Gina's been carrying this around with her. If you didn't know any better, I suppose it does look like a grease stain from all the fish and chips. Okay. And then inside, of course, we have the passport. I'm thinking we're going to mention the gash. I'm going to hop into that and see. Yeah, that's it. Okay. Let's see what they say. Defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. I'm going to go for the gash. Where is the evidence that ties Prosecutor Asogi to Inspector Gregson? I mean, I don't know what else it would be, because we have blood, and then the inside, so, like, let me say the gash. Oh, sorry. I meant to press X. Yeah.
Got it!
I'm thinking it's Kazuma's sword. This is your proof? What do you say to that, Prosecutor Asogi? Personally, I think tying the defense counsel to the inspector's trunk and tossing it into the sea would be more helpful. So that was not correct? What? At least that way, London's courtrooms will be safe from his destructive accusations. I believe that was a rather long-winded way of telling you that you're wrong, Mr. Naruto. So it's not the gash. Oh, is it just the passport because it says it allows for 2 people? Very well. Let us see if you sink or swim under the weight of this penalty, Counsel. I'll take it. Can't allow yourself to be drowned at sea yet. I was hoping never to let that happen, funnily enough. Defense will identify for the court where in the trunk this alleged clue is to be found. There's only 3 things. There's the gash, which it isn't. There's the blood. And then the passport. Okay, let's open it up again. There's nothing else in here, right? Let me, like, specifically... No? It's just gonna be the book, the blood, or the gash. Why is this gavel so spiky? I feel like it's gonna leave a bunch of marks in the little platform. Whatever that part's called. Well, I don't think the blood would make sense, so I'm going to say... Unless it has to be open for me to say the gash, but I don't think so. I'm gonna say the passport, I guess.
Got it!
I don't think it is. Weird. It's not the gash, it's the blood? Huh? I don't know what my save was. 11, like 5 minutes ago. Let's just do that. I'm confused. Maybe it needs to be open for me to say the gash? Is there anything else? Look at specific. Let's see. Does anything else pop up at all? Blood. Presumably I've tried everything but the blood. I'm trying to think. Does Kazuma have a wound and then that's why there's blood? I don't know. Like, I'm trying to think outside the box, so to say. I'm gonna try the blood, and if it's not the blood, I'm gonna try to present the gash, but with the trunk open? It just doesn't make sense that that would be it. Like, why would it have to be open to work? You know? It's not the passport. Okay. Let's try the blood, I guess. Oh, it's very odd. Right, yeah. I was thinking the gash straight away, but... Okay, I'm gonna try it open. Maybe this is weird. Okay, is it the gash and it's just not taking it? Okay, let me open the trunk and then present the gash, because the blood also was about to not work. I'm like, is it me or is it the game? Okay, open it up. It was not the passport. The gash? Or is there something like on the inside? Oh, there's a piece specifically right here. That's what it was. You know what's weird? I saw that, but I thought just presenting the gash was enough. I thought it was fine. Okay, it's this little piece. So this is gonna be a piece from his sword, most likely. Okay. My bad, I'm so sorry, it was me. I was the problem. I was on the right track, but there's like a specific piece right here. I was gonna say, like, it has to be the gash, and then so when I thought it wasn't, I was like, what else? I don't know. I don't know. Okay, here.
Got it.
Oh my god. It's the last case. They're gonna be mean about it. There's a small piece of metal lodged in the wall of the trunk here, like the tip of a blade. It is a really tiny piece. I had to really, like, flip it around to notice it. A blade? Kazuma, slung around your waist as ever today, is the esteemed blade Karuma. Of course it is. Won't you draw it here in this courtroom for all to see? Exercise caution, my learned friend. That man is the son of London's most notorious killer. Bailiff, watch Prosecutor Asogi like a hawk. That won't be necessary. It's broken, right? Mm-hmm. Oh no! It's broken. Mm-hmm. If the fragment of metal from the trunk fits together with the end of the sword, the question of who was there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Oh man. Just the tip. Yep. Wait, I haven't been paying attention. What is happening? Oh my god! So much! Okay. Alright. Buckle up. Here's a summary. Gregson was on a boat called the SS Grouse. 2 other people were also on that boat. Susato's dad and the judge from Japan, Judge Jikoku. They found in Gregson's secret notebook that Judge Jikoku's name was at the bottom of the list for that day before he was killed, or supposedly killed. And he was apparently the next mark for the Reaper to kill. But next to the name where there would usually be the assassin's name, whoever's going to carry out the assassination, there's just a question mark. Now we're seeing evidence that Kazuma was supposedly there on the boat because he knew about the existence of this piece of evidence that no one should have known about unless you were there at the time. And so that's our way of connecting him to the crime scene. He let it slip that he knew about this evidence that he shouldn't have known about. And when we look at that piece of evidence, it has that little piece of metal and a gash, and then there's blood on it, presumably Gregson's. And that piece of metal was the tip of a sword, and the tip of his sword is missing. So it's not boding well for our almost favorite amnesiac, our favorite being Majima. Our second favorite, Kazuma. I am very concerned. But you know what? So he takes after his daddy. Well, we don't know what happened yet. We just know that was probably his sword that slashed the trunk. That Gregson had. And he was there when supposedly Gregson was probably killed, so. I don't know! I think... Okay, here's my thing. So this whole time I've been playing this game, once we realized that the identity of that masked person was Kazuma, I was very worried because I thought... I mean, they don't help... You know, they made him kind of creepy and mysterious, right? This masked figure that follows the Reaper around, supposed Reaper. I was already thinking this person might be the one that kills on behalf of, you know, Van Zieks, basically. Any person that gets away from Van Zieks, someone kills them. And so I was thinking, oh, maybe Kazuma, or maybe this figure with the mask is helping out with that, right? And then we found out that it was actually Kazuma under the mask. So then I was like, oh no, I was thinking that Kazuma was doing these killings. And now what's happening? We have him possibly being there. So I don't know. But I have been suspicious of this character before I knew it was Kazuma. Okay, the question of who is there with Inspector Gregson will be answered. Agreed, Kazuma Asogi. Expertly done, Ryunosuke. That's a point to you, and well deserved. Do you mean to tell the court, Prosecutor Asogi? Yes. On 31st October, I accompanied Inspector Gregson to Dunkirk. Okay. In order to carry out a mission. Oh. So the additional person authorized to travel was me. And the mission was the assassination of the Mark. What? Yup. You mean you're the killer whose name was omitted from this notebook? You were following the Reaper's orders to dispatch Judge Shikoku? Let me make one thing perfectly clear. I have killed no one, okay? Explain! Evidence, now! I accepted the assassination mission, yes, and I accompanied Gregson to Dunkirk, but I never had any intention of carrying out the plan. You were never going to do it? I can believe Kazuma-sama, I'm sure. After all, Judge Jikoku arrived safely in London the following day. On the 31st, I boarded a train from London with Inspector Gregson. We traveled to Dover, from where we crossed the channel to Dunkirk. Then we boarded the SS Grouse and made for the cabin deck, as indicated in the plan. You went to Judge Jikoku's cabin? Exactly. He wasn't there, though. We decided to wait, but you've already told us you had no intention of going through with it anyway. I didn't come to Great Britain to take anyone's life. So I left Gregson and disembarked the ship. Okay, then explain your knife getting stuck in the trunk. I spent that night at a boarding house in the town and returned to England the following morning. A boarding house in Dunkirk? My signature will be in the register book. It would be simple enough to verify. Then what became of Jikoku? Gregson was no assassin, so the mark was spared. I'm sure it's easy enough to imagine what happened after that. Gregson returned to England as well, having failed to complete the mission. He met with the Reaper in that room on Fresno Street to report the failure. And then they put Barrett Van Zieks there, causing the infuriated mastermind to pull the trigger and end his wretched agent's life. That's the real truth behind Inspector Grigson's murder.
Objection!
Maybe. But if you did nothing as you claim, how did the tip of your sword come to be lodged in the inspector's trunk? Exactly, right. How does that explain that sword? I don't need to answer that. Oh, okay. You were real talkative a minute ago. Alright, I gotta write a lot of shit down. Hold on. Okay. So. Kazuma agreed to the assassination mission and accompanied Gregson onto the Rouse boat, but had no intention of killing anyone. So he disembarked, stayed at a boarding house at night. Okay. I don't need to answer that. The victim was killed by a gunshot. A small fragment of a Japanese blade isn't relevant to the case. And accordingly, I choose to exercise my right to silence on that matter. Be that as it may, the court will sequester the sword as evidence. As you wish, my lord. Okay, we have Karuma now. Again. The illustrious blade passed down through generations of the Asogi clan. The prized sword's tip has a small piece missing. I'm gonna look at that in a second. We're going to inspect that tip! We must take immediate action now. Yeah, I gotta inspect the tip. Hold on. Nothing else matters. Alright, let's have a look. See. Karuma. Great blade. It's such a thing of beauty, I want to gaze on it for hours. Okay. Then... nothing else about the sheath, so we'll look at the only logical thing. The tip of the great sword. Broken. Such a shame. It's been so meticulously cared for over the years. I can almost hear Kanuma's sobs. Kazuma must have really taken a swing for that to happen. I mean, to break a katana? I mean, I'm trying to remember, are katana difficult to break? Aren't they? Or are they kind of... Like, they're very thin, but I thought they were really strong. Wouldn't it take a lot to break it? Or am I wrong? I don't remember. We must take immediate action to verify whether Seishiro Jikoku remains unharmed. What? Remains unharmed? I agree. That should be our first priority. They're metal and have a rather thick spine. Tip would be the most fragile part of the blade. Yeah, right? It was just the end of it. Right. And it's funny because, like, I feel like you see in media, like movies, games, all the time a katana will, like, break in half. And it's always so, like, you know, like, how? Oh my god! It's recently come to my attention that he hasn't been seen since yesterday. That I'm a little concerned about the judge. A little concerned. Hopefully his beard protects him. How did you... When a foreign dignitary invited to Great Britain goes missing for 24 hours, it's only natural the question of his safety should arise. You don't mean to say that you think Judge Jikoku may have been killed? The Reaper has more than one assassin at his disposal, and he has the power and influence to give orders from the inside of a prison cell. Isn't that right, Lord Van Zieks? If I were truly the Reaper, I would be able to tell you. Order. Order in court! We will take an emergency recess for 30 minutes. Okie doke. Now, guests of the symposium have been told to maintain regular contact with the organizer's office. If If the man can't be located within half an hour, we will have to assume the worst.
Not Judge Jikoku.
No one would want to kill a harmless Japanese man who'd only just arrived in the country. Except, that is, for the Reaper, wanting to finish off a mark that slipped through the net 10 years ago. I would have to agree. Mr. Naruhodo, for the defense's sake.
My lord?
I sincerely hope we are successful. If we're unable to confirm Mr. Jikoku's healthy existence in the next 30 minutes, we will face grave difficulties.
Oh boy.
Court is adjourned for 30 minutes.
Kazuma-sama, the Reaper's assassin. I feel as though I'm in a nightmare.
I can hardly believe it either, but on the other hand, Kazuma isn't in the habit of making up stories. I wonder why he agreed to the mission, though.
I have such a terrible sense of foreboding. Something awful has happened to Judge Jikoku. And I feel as though things will only spiral further and further out of control.
I felt it from the moment I stepped into the courthouse this morning. That strange sensation that we were careering towards a foregone conclusion. In the worst case, we might only have 30 minutes left. Unfortunately, though, I don't think there's anything we can do but wait now. We're out of options.
Actually, there may be one last hand we can play. Or rather, one last ear.
Oh, right. Of course. The little Mr. Sholmes doll that Iris gave us.
For some reason, you completely run out of options in the trial. Just pull this little Hurley's ears as hard as you possibly can.
Perhaps now is the time. What should I do? Pull Hurley's ears or not? Really? I mean, probably if they're suggesting it. Why not? I mean, why would I leave it? Like, no, we'll be fine. I don't know. It doesn't feel like we're at a dead end yet, but I'll probably just go for it anyway. Euro steel tended to be better than Japanese steel, but Japanese had a better forging method, and again, still steel. They weren't exactly fragile. Okay. I've always remembered, you know, to my memory that the katana were really, really strong and forged really well, like you said. And apparently, katana making is like a dying art right now. Just like a lot of old trades and crafts and stuff. It's actually sad to think about. Okay, pull! Pull the lever, Ryo! Here goes then. I'm gonna do it.
Good luck, Mr. Naruhodo.
No looking back. Heave! Ow!
That scream sounded like Mr. Sholmes.
Mr. Sholmes? Where are you?
He's in the walls.
Here, my dear fellow, here! It's the felt doll talking, huh?
Pull the ears again, Mr. Naruhodo, as hard as you can.
All right then. I'll put all my strength into it. Heave! Like a voodoo doll. Ow! Please, my dear fellows, you don't need to pull my ear off. Mr. Sholmes, where are you? Myself and my trusty partner. On the ship are presently in the first-class cabin area of the SS Grouse. The SS Grouse? She left Dover last night after the final pieces of cargo were loaded. It just stays on his ear? I don't know how this is happening. We are currently docked at Dunkirk, but due to be underway again in half an hour. You've taken a ship to France? Please. Even with my athletic prowess, I would struggle to jump the Straits of Dover. After we left Baker Street last night, we hurried by cab to the station, by train to the port. In order to board this vessel in time. So you mean you'd already worked it out? That the steamship was where everything really took place? Mr. Naruhodo, pray, what is my name? Sherlock Sholmes, world-famous great detective. Recited to perfection. Well done.
You're a genius, Mr. Sholmes.
That's the only word for it. Oh. So, like, is it magic? Like, how is this working? It's like a little, like, mechanism, I guess. He, like, attaches it to his ear? I don't know. I missed that bit of magic from the previous games, yeah. No, I love it. I love them. They're so cute. Robot. Advanced robot in the 1800s. Welcome in, Kume. Mr. Naruhodo. Naruhodo. Let's say Herlock and Iris are ahead of their time, right? Pull harder. Ow, 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 ow. Mrs. Sato, gently with this genius's ear, please.
Oh my, I'm ever so sorry.
If I may, Sholmes? Ah, there you are, Mikotoba. You may remember that it was in fact I who made the connection to the SS Grouse. At Scotland Yard yesterday, when we examined that notebook, and I recalled my steamship ticket. Ah. Ah! But of course it was, my dear fellow. How could I forget? And not once did I controvert that fact. I merely had our court-bound companions utter my name. Ah, right, okay, yeah, sure, whatever. Yes, you did, didn't you? We've just entered a recess. The trial resumes in 30 minutes from now.
And if we're unable to present any new leads then, I'm afraid to say...
Do not fret, please. It's for precisely that purpose that my partner and I have made this journey. I have no doubt we shall have welcome news for you within the half hour. Thank you, Mr. Sholmes. That would be wonderful. Until later, then. Yes, you'll be hearing from us if you're not in touch first. Ow, 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 ow! I shan't be hearing anything if you keep tugging my ear in that mindless fashion. Whatever was the idea behind making a receiver operated in that way in the first place, Sholmes? Why the deuce would I know? It's Iris's invention, not mine. So you can't ignore them. Whilst I know how much you enjoy being the hero of the hour, Sholmes, we have but half that now, before the grouse puts to sea again. If we don't conclude our investigations rapidly, we shall find ourselves in Naples before long. There are times, Mikotoba, when you make a surprising amount of sense. So, let us begin! Oh my god. This is so cool, though. Like, we're just switching perspectives? I love this. First class cabin number 2. Yes, this is the one. But I don't believe an investigation of the cabin is going to be plain sailing. I like the little, little peekaboo. The bottom of the shirt there. I like your crop top, sir! That crewman standing in front of the door is an angry-looking fellow. This is the Russian guy from the beginning, right? Investigation on the fly, baby! Yeah, we're in an actual Holmes and Watson mystery. That's so cool. Okay. Yeah, Sholmes and Mikotoba. Ooh, tater tots. Ooh! Alright. Since we're doing something new now, and we're about halfway through with the stream, I'm gonna take a 5-minute break. When I get back, I'm going to attempt my Russian accent once again. And do a little impromptu investigation as Mr. Holmes and Mikotoba, which is really exciting. But yeah, be back soon. Feel free to grab a drink or a snack if you need it. BRB. Alright. We are back. It's time for more Ace Attorney. Let me catch your chat. Yes, I added the thumbnail that you made to the fan art slideshow. I still need to add the second one that you did. I just keep forgetting to add it. The second one was so funny. Just seeing myself drawn on like the train track. funny. I still need to rewatch the video too. Very good. Okay. What else we got? Bunch of quotes, clips, stuff like that. Everyone went to bed. Already said goodnight. Okay. Such an honor to join the big leagues. And there was a few other fan arts that you've done that are in there too. I think there's like an Animal Crossing one that was really cute. I remember all. But yeah, they should all be in there. They should all be there. Okay. Time for a terrible Russian accent. Why are you loitering here? Who are you? My dear fellow, do you not recognize a world-famous great detective when you see one? The question really ought to be, who are you? Do you not recognize world-traveling great sailor? Chicken Stroganoff when you see chicken? Stroganoff. Why is Sholmes written on his arm? Great detective. I don't think so. Do you see that, Mikotoba? It would appear that this man is a devoted follower of mine. Goodness me. Is that a tattoo? That says Sholmes? I must say, whilst such adoration is flattering, naturally, it does leave me a little cold. What are you talking about? Leave, now! How distressing. Distressing? Why am I giving him the accent? How distressing. My loyal devotee knows me only by name and not by appearance. Russian Sholmes! Confirm. And yet, I already know a great deal about you, sir. That's how you know I'm tired. I'm mixing up my voices. You have a brother, I believe. Like yourself, he's a shipman. Currently traveling the world aboard a Russian steamship event. Oh, this is his brother! How could you know this? Elementary, my dear Mikotoba. I'm sure it was. 3 days ago, I was bound for London aboard this ship you see. We're looking for one of my fellow passengers, a man by the name of Jigoku. There is no one with this name on board. Are you lying? But we know that he purchased a ticket for passage. Oh, his name was Beef and this one's name is Chicken. Oh. Ah, you mean Eastern man. He left ship 2 hours ago. Here, at Dunkirk. He said something about emergency, I think. What? Are you sure? So Seishiro's realized that we're after him, has he? Oh, after him? His cabin is the one behind you. We should like to investigate, please. No, I have orders not to let even mouse inside. Mikotoba, be a good man and draw the sailor's attention away, would you? Make up some excuse so that he leaves the area. Did you just say that in front of him? Doesn't the great detective see that even sailors have ears, both left and right? Curses! The plan is ruined! Oh my god. And you have only yourself to blame, I'm afraid, Sholmes. Forget it. Cabin door is locked. Even if I am not here, you cannot get inside. Mikotoba, I'm sure you haven't forgotten my special talent, have you? Opening any lock? Within a mere 5 seconds. So if you'd be so kind as to afford me the requisite time, old friend, in your typically accommodating manner. How could I refuse such a typically unappealing request, old friend? So I need to distract that burly sailor for 5 seconds, do I? Good man. So, the game is afoot. So we're playing as Mikotoba, then. Interesting. Well, we could pull that, I guess. This would appear to be an alarm bell. All hell would break loose if that thing were to ring. The whole crew would know about it. I pressed it without even thinking about it. I meant to, like, look around a little bit. I'm sorry. It's just like, do it. So, here goes then. Pardon me in advance. You! What are you doing? If we were at sea, that would be a very bad problem. What's going on down there? Seaman Stroganoff, report it at once. Sorry, sir. Nothing to report. Just a stupid trick. No, not by me. By world famous... No, as I told you. Now, Sholmes, now. Done. Not even 5 seconds, eh? Well, don't stand there gawping at my brilliance, Mikitoba. In we go. Oh, yes. Just slap the guy. That'll distract him. Alright. 3rd November, SS Grouse, first class cabin number 2. Okay. Interesting. There's a lot to look at. Good gracious. It would appear that the occupant of this cabin did indeed disembark rather hurriedly. Those clothes on the floor there. They're Seishido's without question. It seems we are just a little too late. Yes, by about 2 hours. Still, whilst we're here, we should investigate thoroughly. There may well be 2 hours worth of clues to find in here. But that burly crewman may return at any moment, Sholmes. Indeed he may. Which makes this all the more thrilling. Oh boy. Well, this caught my attention for sure. There's a speaking tube here, look. Though it's been stoppered with some cloth. The voices of the crewmen on the bridge aren't an annoyance, I suppose. Or indeed, so that the voices in this cabin aren't heard elsewhere. Yeah, that's what I figured. Can something have happened in here that was for no one else's ears, do you think? Either that, or it could be to prevent snakes from entering. That's really become a favorite case of yours, hasn't it? Okay. I also thought this was kind of weird. The wall is a slightly different color just here, do you see? Indeed. What you have observed arises when a frame that has been hanging for some time is removed. So maybe that's originally what was over there, and there's something behind that. Perhaps your friend is an art thief. Now there's a bold deduction worthy of a great detective, I'm sure. He may very well be the elusive thief who has been plaguing France's galleries of late. He evaporated out of his clothes. I think perhaps we should focus our attentions elsewhere, Sholmes, don't you? That outline on the wall. I feel as though I might have spotted something of a similar shape and size elsewhere. Like, in the same frame. These are the rules of passage. Passengers must not keep weapons or other dangerous objects in their cabins. Pets are also strictly forbidden. Additionally, there are severe punishments for stowing away in wardrobes and/or travel cases. I feel the rules have increased since I last read them. Probably just my imagination. What about the fact that they're not straight on the wall? Doesn't that strike you? You may be right. Probably just your imagination, though. A trifle. You know what I always say, Mikitoba? There is nothing important about trifles. It's probably just my imagination, but I think that might be slightly off. Oh, so nothing? I can't, like, look behind it or anything? Okay. How about this? It's a very sizable trunk indeed. Seishido is partial to all things large. And a rather clumsy fellow if he failed to notice he'd left that behind. Perhaps he left it on purpose. It's lighter than you might think, but still a hindrance to a speedy escape. Pity. It's locked. You can't look inside. Surely 5 seconds from now the situation will be quite different, though. Sadly not. It has a 7-digit combination lock. And I'm not in a morose enough mood to work through all the combinations at present. Okay. You have the clothes. That's a substantial heap of clothes on the floor. An overcoat, shirts, a dressing gown. Momohiki work trousers, a tanzan robe, a haramaki waistband. Clearly the clothing of a Japanese man. And clearly, Japanese men are unaccustomed to the culture of the wardrobe. It looks to me as if they've been thrown in a heap like that in something of a hurry. Indeed, you could help yourself to a Japanese man's shirt, perhaps. I'm sure you made mention of packing too few. I'd very likely drown in one of Seishiro's shirts. No, I'll just buy any extras I need, I think. So that didn't really matter. How about... Oh, let's look at this. Let's open it. According to the report I was given, Naruhodo was concealing himself in Asogi's wardrobe. Indeed he was, and it was of a similar size to this one. You must climb inside yourself, my dear fellow. What? Whatever for? It was the site of my first fateful meeting with Mr. Naruhodo. You can experience the moment for yourself now, complete with my dramatic rhetoric. Come along now, in you go. This will only take a moment. Really, Shom, surely you can just tell me what you said. Well, I uttered some brilliant remark and opened the wardrobe to reveal the stowaway murderer. I think I'll just read about it in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes. So that didn't matter. Quite the exquisite glass, I must say. See here how it... That doesn't look like a glass that's been out for 2 hours. Something wrong, Sholmes? You suddenly trailed off. Ice, Mikotoba, ice. What opulence the first-class passengers enjoy. Chilled drinks. Pardon? Chilled? Would it be that this steamship is equipped with an electrically refrigerated cold room, do you think? Oh! Well, it is a luxury liner after all. They have enormous refrigerators for storing all sorts of lavish produce as well as ice. On our voyage from Japan, we enjoyed culinary delights from all over the world. Suddenly, Mikotoba. The sight of you is making my mouth water. I haven't taken on the flavor of the food I ate, you know. Okay, interesting development. So the SS Grouse might have a cold room. Might have been where Gregson was kept after his murder. It's all coming together. Okay, look at the trash can. This is the waste paper basket, look. There's still rubbish inside. Indeed. Let us pry. I've discovered recently I have a penchant for exploring the contents of others' waste paper baskets. I sincerely hope only for your work. Ah. Here we have a notice issued to passengers from 3 days ago. 3 days ago. The night before we arrived in London, then. When I was still aboard myself. Evacuation drill notice, 31st October. Following departure... Oh. Ah, yes. Let me... Oh, I can't look at it. Okay. There was an evacuation drill, I remember now. For our safety and security, all first-class passengers were constantly under the watchful eye of the crew. So it was a welcome relief to have some privacy for once. Okay, a notice about a practice evacuation to be carried out by the crew of the SS Grouse the night before the ship arrived in Dover was found in Judge Jigoku's cabin. Ah, we found everything then? You are still here! Ah, Abel Seaman Stroganoff. Hello again. I was beginning to think you'd never materialize. Eh, you are waiting for me? Of course! I was expecting you to burst in with a hearty Russian profanity far sooner. I was in trouble with Captain because of trick you play before. Poor innocent chicken. It is all your fault. Ship is leaving port soon. Get off, now! Of course. We shall disembark presently, my dear fellow. But first, there is something that must be done. What are you talking about? Why, naturally, the debunking of your deceit and the bearing of the truth. Oi? I'm afraid I see through your lies. For one thing, Mr. Jigoku has not yet left this vessel at all. Ah. Oh, and for another, my dear Seaman Stroganov. You know exactly where the man is even as we speak, don't you? Is he in the wardrobe? Is that why all the clothes were thrown out? Oh, how can you... I mean, that ice isn't melted either. Good gracious, Sholmes, you mean you've worked it out? All of it? It's really been too long, hasn't it, old friend? 10 years, no less. So, would you care to join me for a dance of my inimitable logic and reasoning? Nothing would please me more. What is this? We have but minutes until the vessel puts out to sea. No games now. Oh my god. Time is of the essence. Mr. Stroganoff, allow me to remind you of your earlier claim. You told us that Jigaku left the ship some 2 hours ago. Ah, that is what I said. Sadly, that was a rather clumsy lie. You see, there is something in this room that quite clearly contradicts it. What? Ah, yes, of course. I see you've noted it too, Mikotoba. Then please, do take the lead. What in this cabin shows the impossibility of Jigaku having disembarked 2 hours ago? Let's see what the last 3 years have done to your observational skills then, Mikotoba. It's been 10 years since we last did this, Sholmes, not 3. Why, of course it has, quite. Now all the clues are here in this cabin for your eyes to see. But as I always say, you must not merely look, but observe. Observe, and the answers become clear. So impress me. I think I can manage that. Alright. It's the glass.
Take that!
Oh. Why is he tap dancing? Mikotoba? He's got a secret talent. He always wanted to be a tap dancer. Style. That is so good. Oh my god. Perhaps you should have cleared away that glass. How curious, the ice shouldn't have melted, despite it being abandoned 2 hours ago. It would appear that the man was here in this very cabin until moments before our arrival. With this well-chilled glass in hand. Get your mind off the refreshments, Jones. One might even conclude that somebody informed him of our boarding. Wouldn't you agree, Mr. Stroganoff? But why would Seishido run from us? Before we consider that question, allow me to confirm one small matter. Would I be correct in saying that these first-class cabins of the SS Grouse are the same ones in which you and Mr. Jigaku were accommodated on your voyage from Japan? That's right, they are. I was in the cabin next door, and Seishido was, yes, 50 days in this very cabin during our voyage. As I suspected, for you see, there are traces in this cabin of a dark secret that Mr. Jigaku had to hide. What traces? I know nothing about this. Ah, this is news to you, is it, Mr. Stroganoff? Jones, what are you getting at? As I said, there are traces in this cabin of some nefarious activity. Something that appears out of place, which I'm quite sure won't have escaped your notice. It's literally in the background right now. Something out of place in here. That's the key to this, Mikotoba. Oh, sorry. That's the key to this, Mikotoba. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by... I didn't see it. The remnants of the dark deed that took place in here are being masked by something quite incongruous. I must say, I didn't foresee ever doing this dance. Tap dance. Of deduction with you again, Mikotoba. No, quite. But life is full of unexpected twists and turns, as we well know. Now then, let's see if I can't uncover the truth here. Yes, you have the floor, my dear fellow. Alright. I'm pretty sure I know what it is, so... I'm not too concerned. 50 years. Yeah, 50 days. A good chunk of a year, I know. Yeah, I mean, travel across, you know, to different countries, especially from Japan to Europe at this time period, took forever. I think some travel, I think, took almost a whole year, yeah. I want to say like 100-something days for some distances. Wild. Now you can travel somewhere within a few hours. Okay. Now, do I do the mark on the wall or this? I guess this one.
Take that!
There he goes. It's the rules of passage in this frame here. They're obviously out of place. The way they're hanging crooked on the wall, as if they were put there in a hurry. Yes, as I'm sure you've already concluded. That frame was originally over here. The shape and size are a perfect match. Ah, you are right. When did frame move? Hardly the most observant of crewmen, are you, Mr. Stroganoff? I would think your captain is quite justified in having his reservations about your reliability. Oh dear, that really seemed to touch a nerve. So, Mikotoba, why don't you lift that frame off the wall? A bullet hole! We know who did it! Oh my god. That looks like a bullet hole. What? Who has been shooting walls? Jigoku's just in the wardrobe right now, like, biting his nails. Shit! Shit! Shit, they found it! How? I hit it so well! I see the projectile has been removed. Clearly, the careful occupant of this room has already disposed of it. Now then, Mr. Stroganoff. I have the distinct impression that you're attempting to shield said occupant. I don't know what you are talking about. Why would I try to protect Eastern stranger? Bribe, maybe? Huh. So, we're talking about the same man, I see. Good. Uh-huh. I'm sure we can get to the bottom of this in no time, aren't you? Because there's some very noteworthy evidence that explains the reason why you're lying for the man. Yes, you've been told to keep up this pretense as clearly shown by... I really don't know how to approach this one, Sholmes. Ah, my dear Mikotoba, simply keep first principles in mind. Study your subject from every angle, and I'm quite sure that you'll see it. In fact, I'd put a wager on it. So I'm to glare at the fellow from all sides? I can certainly do that. Well, I think it's this, but let's look around anyway. Oh, the bribe in the pocket! Uh-huh.
Take that!
The arm with... I can't talk over that. His arm having Sholmes' name on it is also evidence, but this is why he did it, was for the money. It's almost too obvious for words. Quite. The universal language of the world. Money. And I'd wager that the Eastern fellow in question is Seishiro Jigoku, yes? Ah! So, I presume you realize what this means. There are clear signs that a crime has been committed in this cabin. In the way you're going, sir, you'll find yourself accused of being an accomplice. But... I believe you know, Mr. Stroganoff. You know where Mr. Jigoku is hiding at this precise moment in time. As always, Mikotoba, in matters of deduction, the furtive glance is your unfaltering ally. Oh, is he in the chest? Oh, I thought he'd be in the wardrobe. Oh no, because all his clothes were in the chest. And then he threw them out and jumped in. That's what it was. Yes, I think you're onto something there, Holmes. We found the chink in this burly fellow's armor. We need only follow the man's gaze to know where our prey is hiding. The slightest flicker of the pupils, a minutely delayed blink. Nothing escapes my attention, even that which is barely perceptible. You could hardly call this barely perceptible, Sholmes. The man's turned his entire head. It's not exactly what you describe as a furtive glance, is it? It's almost too obvious. We shall let your tapping toes decide, my dear fellow. You tap those toes! It's the trunk.
Take that!
That's why Herlock's deductions have been inaccurate. He was missing his main guy to complete the deductions with. He's like, Nikitoma's just doing it all, and Herlock's like, yes, I am an amazing detective. You turned immediately to look at this large trunk, didn't you? The truth is, Seishiro Jigoku was unable to escape from the ship in time, and is, at this very moment, doing his best to stifle his breath inside this trunk. If he still has a breath to take, I fear he may be running dangerously low on air. I imagine he didn't count on us making a nuisance of ourselves for quite so long. I think it would be in everyone's best interests for us to open the trunk as quickly as possible. But how can we? Are you forgetting about the combination lock? We don't know about the 7-digit code. And I guess he'll die! I guess he'll just suffocate! Whoops! The combination lock can't be opened from inside the trunk. Therefore, there must have been an arrangement for somebody to open it after our departure. Of course. In short, before Jigoku hid himself inside that trunk, he must have told somebody the 7-digit number for the lock. Oh, so probably this guy. Yes. As I'm sure you can confirm, Mr. Strogan. I know nothing about the combination code. Okay. Don't move a muscle, my good man. Now, Mikotoba, would you do the honors and open the trunk? How on earth do you expect me? It's a 7-digit number, remember. Quickly now, we have little time. Okay, I think I understand. Oh shit, okay. Is it like upside down, maybe? So... Or is it just right side up? So what, it'd be like 2... 4... 0... 1... 3... Oh wait. What would be the E? Would this be the E instead? Something else is an M? This is just another 3? Would it be that? I'm assuming it's spelling out Sholmes. I'm just trying to figure out how... I can review scene? Hold on. Oh, okay, I can look at it. Thank God. Okay, so... Oh, maybe... No, I think it's 5s. It's not 2s. I'm sorry. It's 5... I think it is upside down. So it'd be 5, 2, 3, 1, 0, 4, 5. My bad. Trying to do it from my brain. Okay. 5, 2, 3... 1, 0, 4, 5. Think so? Let's try it.
Take that!
Yeah, very bad handwriting. Click. That did it. It's open. You had to meddle, didn't you? Who said that? Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, thank you so much. Well, Eugen, you found me now. What are you doing in there? You look ridiculous. Say Shiro. Oh my god. The timing. Anyway, let me let that alert go off. There we go. Sorry. Oh my god. Thank you very, very much for getting us up to Zoe, PC Man. Let me make a star for Zoe. That I've gotten that to work. The judge just has to wait. He's not important right now. There you go. Your little subscriber star. Thank you very, very much, PC Man. Okay. Red. Yeah, we have a few more red ones. I don't know what color we'll have next. We'll have to see. It will have to be a surprise. Jigoku heard it was all the rage to conceal oneself in extremely small spaces. Surprisingly flexible for such a tall man. I know, I'm like, how does he fit in there? He okay? I was really hoping beyond hope not to find you here, you know. But you're not entirely unsurprised, I take it. No, quite. I just wish it were some other way. Well, are you ever going to introduce me? Ah, your reputation precedes you, Mr. Sholmes. I've read stories of many of your exploits. Excuse my manners, Sholmes. This is Mr. Jigoku, my old friend and traveling companion. The devil is in the details, Mikotoba. I believe you meant to say your old friend and traveling companion, who made the cowardly decision to flee the country without a word to anyone when things turned sour. I see my reputation precedes me as well. What an honor. Well, Seishiro, you going to explain all this? You know it all by now, I imagine. What you didn't know, of course, is that 3 days ago, the night before our arrival in Britain, an attempt was made on my life here on this very ship. So maybe it was just self-defense. By the Reaper of the Bailey? Yes, I've since heard. Because you were once prosecuted by the Reaper, weren't you? 10 years ago now, mind you. And I had no idea at the time what a dangerous individual he was. Anyway, when we arrived in London to find the symposium was postponed until goodness knows when, it became all too apparent to me that I might very well be targeted again. So you decided to flee the capital without saying a word to me about it. Afraid so, yes. Of course, I realize now that I really ought to have confided in you. Somewhat surprising, I must say. What is? Well, first-class cabins aboard luxury steamships are in very short supply. It's more than a little hard to believe that this one just happened to be available. So says the protagonist of some colorful short stories. Well, I don't care for your opinion. The cabin did just happen to be available, so I purchased a ticket, and here I am. Just seen for myself the obvious remnants of that incident in the cabin. So you'd already purchased your return ticket before we even docked in Dover, had you? To prevent anyone else taking this cabin and seeing the evidence. Is that it? Eugen, I have nothing to say to you. Well, in a mere 5 minutes, the ship will set off on its onward voyage and not make port again until Italy. I'm afraid we must insist that you disembark with us at once. You have no jurisdiction over my movements. We have this, Seishiro. Take it. What is it? A subpoena from the Old Bailey. You're a man of the law. You know what the ramifications of ignoring a document like this from the British courts would be. You came prepared then, Eugen. Come on, let's go. One moment. What is it, Sholmes? Inside Mr. Jigoku's trunk, I found this rather fascinating trinket. What is that? Seishiro? I can't help you, I'm afraid. Some small component from something. But what? I have no idea. By the look on his face, I think he genuinely doesn't know. Well, let us pocket it as a small souvenir of our brief sojourn in France. A small component has been entered, a small machine part that Mr. Sholmes found in Judge Jikoku's cabin on the SS Grouse. Okay. Well, young Naruhodo, I think we've done as much as we can, I'm afraid. The rest will be on the shoulders of you and your assistant. Hi. Back to trial. That was fun. 3rd November, 12:10 p.m., the Old Bailey courtroom. It really helps to break up the monotony of doing the trial. The trial can be really exciting at times, but I really do like the balance of doing a day of trial and then going to go investigate and then go back to trial, you know. I'm glad they included that. I also very much enjoyed the tap dancing. Kazuma Asogi. I know you, and I know you wouldn't lie. But still, there's no doubt that you're holding something back. You know more than you're saying. During the past 30 minutes, while this court was adjourned, all possible efforts were expended. But sadly, Mr. Jikoku's whereabouts could not be ascertained. We must accept the unfortunate conclusion that the Reaper has already done the deed. There's no sense in wasting any more of the court's time. The prosecution calls for an immediate verdict.
Objection!
No evidence! No. The trial cannot end now. You're a Japanese man, Ryunosuke. You should know when to lay down your sword. And you should know never to presume when the battle is won. The court has already been presented with all the evidence and heard all relevant testimony, and there can be only one conclusion. The accused is guilty. All relevant testimony? Far from it. There's still a crucial witness, from whom the court is yet to hear a single word of testimony. In that case, call your witness to the stand at once, counsel. Yes, my lord. Tomorrow, if possible. The witness is already on his way and scheduled to arrive tomorrow. Who on earth is this crucial witness? Seishiro Jikoku. Mm-hmm. The very man allegedly murdered by the Reaper. Judge Jikoku, you found him? The investigations of every policing resource in the capital suggest that Jikoku is already dead. How in the name of God did you find the man? He was located in France during the recess at the port of Dunkirk. Thanks to one of Mr. Herlock Sholmes' famous deductions. Herlock Sholmes. Inspector Gregson almost certainly met with Mr. Jikoku on the night of his death, because along with Prosecutor Asogi, Gregson was on a mission to assassinate the man. Which means that Seishiro Jikoku is the sole witness, who can clarify exactly what happened aboard the SS Grouse on the 31st of October. Well, it would appear that it's too soon to move to adjudication at this point. The prosecution concurs. Court must hear Mr. Jikoku's testimony. No judgment should be passed until all testimony has been considered. In that case, I hereby call the end of today's proceedings. Court will reconvene at the same hour tomorrow. No objections from either side? No, my lord. No objections, my lord. We live to fight another day. By the skin of our teeth. Ah, there we go. There wasn't that much longer left. Okay. Now the next time's gonna be real juicy. Real juicy. Okay, I've got some things to take notes on, but we will go ahead and end there because we only have another hour left. And I had to sneeze. Okay. Anyway, let's save. Okay. All right. So a little shorter stream tonight. I really don't like to go past the to be continued unless it's really short, like an hour or 2 hours or something. Because then I have to end in the middle of a trial day, and I never do well when I do that. If I have a whole week between the first half and second half of a single day in the game, I struggle a lot. So we're gonna stop here. But I need to take some notes. I thought it would be longer. I thought we were at the end. Yeah, I guess, I don't know. I don't know how many parts are left, but I assume at least one more day of trial. And then we'll see. I don't know if we'll finish it. I always assume that the last case of a game is the longest, but since this is a case that's like already been started in chapter 4, I could see it being kind of short. So I don't know. We'll just have to see, but I will be playing more of this game next Thursday. Let me make sure I'm streaming that day. I should be. Yeah. I don't have anything on the schedule anyway. Okay, so I should be here next Thursday playing more Chronicles, but I'll be streaming tomorrow as well, playing some Dead Space. Was lurk napping. I appreciate that too. I appreciate that too. Okay, I gotta take these notes before I forget everything. Okay, so Judge Jikoku tried to flee, and was found in France at Port Dunkirk by Herlock and Nikotoba. There was a bullet hole in the wall of his cabin from when he traveled to London. And I'm gonna just assume Gregson tried to assassinate him, and the judge defended himself, killing Gregson. That's what I think. We shall see. Was there anything else I need to write? I guess I'll just say, next time we're going to be calling the judge to the stand and cross-examine him. Okay. I think I got it all, hopefully. But anyway, that's it for me. I should probably be playing some music or something. Hold on. I want to kind of catch up with chat a little bit. Let me see. Where is it? There it is. There we go. I should have been playing this the whole time, sorry. I was trying to be in the zone taking the notes. If he wanted to avoid the court, he could have taken a ferry to, like, France, a 2-hour ferry, right? I don't know. He tried to get away, but, Herlock caught up to him. Like I said, that's it for me, but I will be streaming again tomorrow at 9:30 p.m. Central, playing some Dead Space with Ruuuvo. We're trying to get this game finished, hopefully soon. We shall see. But yeah, I'm also excited to play more of Chronicles next week. We keep leaving off on these, like, cliffhangers, and I want to know what happens next, but I can only really handle one day of this game a week because of my voice. So we'll just have to wait till next week to, see what happened. And yeah, that'll be it for me tonight. But either way, I hope you'll have a great rest of your nights. There's my social media if you want to follow me anywhere, and then we also have a Discord if you want to join it. But aside from that, we're back tomorrow at 9:30, and I hope y'all have a wonderful rest of your nights. Thank you so much for the support tonight. I really, really appreciate it if you were chatting with me or lurking, either way. And I hope y'all have a great rest of your nights, but I will see y'all next time. Bye!